James Gunn and Peter Safran have finally, on the last day of January, cutting it awful close there, gentlemen, have revealed the first few projects in their new DCU slate. As someone who's been very interested in this from the day it was announced, I am going to react to these announcements and tell you what I think, for what it's worth. First off, very much unlike Marvel, they've decided to give this first chapter in their new DC universe a title.
To a new world of gods and monsters.
As a Universal Monsters fan, yeah, I couldn't help but think of that. Also, as a Universal Monsters fan, I am very intrigued by the first title in these project announcements. Creature Commandos, an animated series starring Frankenstein's monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, and other monsters, including Weasel from the Suicide Squad, and also apparently Rick Flag Sr., which is intriguing. Don't know a whole lot about these characters. I was aware they existed, but this does intrigue me. One thing that intrigues me about this is that James Gunn stated that many of these characters from the animated shows are going to cross over into live action, most of the time played by the same actors. This is opposed to what Marvel did with their What If series. I know a lot of people didn't like that. Next up, we got Waller. One interesting thing about this, as well as comments James Gunn made about some of the movies that are coming out this year, tells us one interesting thing I think we were all wondering. This is not going to be as much of a hard reboot as we thought. It seems to be a soft reboot, as Viola Davis is coming back as Amanda Waller. Gonna be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker, so I'll look forward to this with some trepidation. Okay, next up is Superman Legacy, the only project announced that we have a release date for. So far it is July 11th, 2025. It will star a young Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Superman represents truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. Yeah, not too much to say about this. It's a new Superman movie. We knew one was coming. We knew that James Gunn was writing it. A little sad that Henry Cavill's not coming back, but at the same time, I'm really excited to see where this new Superman will go. I'm hoping for a more traditional Superman. Don't have Jimmy Olsen be a undercover agent that gets shot after being in a movie for only 10 minutes? Come on, that was stupid. Next up, we have Lanterns, a TV series featuring two Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as the leads. Apparently some other Lanterns will be joining them too, but those will be the main two. It's going to be a True Detective type mystery with the two Lanterns, terrestrial based. Haven't seen True Detective, so I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm intrigued for this. Apparently they are going to be researching a mystery that will lead into the overall story they are telling throughout the different movies and television shows. Gunn says, "We find this ancient horror on Earth, and these guys are basically super cops on Precinct Earth." Very intrigued by this. What is this mystery they're going to be setting up? Next up is The Authority. Don't have too much to say about this. It's based on Wildstorm characters. I don't know a whole lot about Wildstorm characters. I've read a couple of Grifter and Wildcats comics here and there, but I never heard of The Authority before this. Moving on, we have Paradise Lost, a Wonder Woman prequel series, Game of Thrones type story about Themyscira, Paradise Island, home of the Amazons and birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's about political intrigue, all taking place before Diana's birth. This is something else that could be really good or something I'm not interested in. I'm just going to have to wait and see as more information comes out. Next up, we have something I am extremely excited for. Maybe the thing I am most excited for in this lineup, The Brave and the Bold. Not only are we getting Batman, but we are getting Robin. Something that I have been wanting them to do in live action for ages. I'm sick of not having a Robin. I'm kind of tired of Batman just being a dark, brooding loner. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I loved Matt Reeves' The Batman. I love the Dark Knight trilogy, but I want to see something different. I want to see Robin back. I want to see Robin done right. And the Robin they have chosen, of course, is Damian Wayne. Something else we've never had, a live-action Damian. I am so excited for this. They have said that it is going to feature other members of the extended Bat family as well. I mean, yes, please. Thank you. Give us Nightwing. Give us Red Hood. Give us Batgirl. Give us everybody. I am so excited for this. There are a lot of characters in here we've never had in the theater. We've had some on TV with Titans and shows like that. But yeah, this is just, oh my goodness. Based on Grant Morrison comic run. The picture they used, of course, is from when Dick Grayson his time as Batman, I doubt that's an indication of what's coming. I mean, they say a father-son story. Unless they're going to change it to Damian Grayson, I don't think that that's going to be the case. This is just going to be fantastic, I think. Really curious to see who they get to direct it. Next up, of course, surprising not a whole lot of people, Booster Gold. I think a lot of people were expecting this as a possibility, as this is just the sort of relatively unknown character that James Gunn seems to gravitate towards. He's a fun character, I don't know, I haven't read a whole lot of comics with him, I've read one or two, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing who they cast as Booster Gold and how they do this. I know that Booster Gold teamed up with Blue Beetle several times in the comics. We've got Blue Beetle coming out, and James Gunn has confirmed that Blue Beetle seems to be part of his DCU. This is a soft reboot, not a hard reboot. Some things seem to be carrying over. Maybe a Blue Beetle sequel could be them teaming up. Now we come to the project that to me is probably the second most exciting thing on this list behind Brave and Bold. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Based on a recent book by Tom King, this is going to be a slightly darker take on Supergirl than we're used to. Gunn says, in our story, we have Superman who was sent to Earth and raised by incredibly loving parents. Kara was on Krypton. She was on a piece of Krypton that drifted away from the planet, and she lived there for the first 14 years of her life in a horrible situation where she watched everyone around her die. Haven't read Tom King's wonderful comic, as Gunn calls it, but you can be sure I'm going to. Supergirl is another one I feel like we haven't had a whole lot of adaptations. We had that Supergirl movie that apparently everyone hates. I've never watched it. And we had the recent CW show. The CW show wasn't bad in its first few seasons. I stopped watching it quite a while ago and I hear it got a lot worse, but this sounds intriguing and like it could be really good. I love seeing these other characters in the DC extended universe. You know, don't just give us Superman, don't just give us Batman, give us Batgirl, give us Supergirl, give us the other characters that we don't always get. And last but not least, of course, we have Swamp Thing. It's going to be a darker, more horror-based story, which makes sense. It is Swamp Thing. As someone who is, like I said earlier, somewhat of a horror fan, I am looking forward to this. This could be really, really well done. It could have a really good look to it. But yeah, that's all the stuff on the list so far. Gunn says there's a lot of stuff coming, but this is all they can reveal so far. Something I didn't go over too much is what James Gunn said about the 4 movies that are coming out this year. I plan to make another video about that, which is why I didn't say too much in here, because there's some really interesting tidbits that I think deserve their, like I say, their own video. But let me know what you guys think, and subscribe for more DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Doctor Who content. Talk to you later. Goodbye.